It's December in St. Louis, which means it's time to round up the year's best new restaurants, which we will do today on this episode of Our Cheats. Hello, I'm George Mahey, and with me is my co-host, who is not wearing her Christmas onesie, but I suspect will do so again.
This is Cheryl Bear, and absolutely I will.
I know it's going to happen. We covered these restaurants in the latest issue of St. Louis Magazine, but it came out a month ago. So what we're going to do today is also mention the newest kids on the block. Half a dozen great restaurants that would have made the cut were it not for an early production schedule. And then we're going to rant for a moment about the do's and don'ts of a restaurant's inaugural menu. But before all that, it's what we can't stop thinking about. Nothing Christmas related, nothing holiday related.
No, I guess we'll get to that later. Well, I guess it is Christmas related. I went to this restaurant for the first time on Black Friday after getting up at 5 a.m. to get to West County Mall by 6 a.m., which
you're one of those people.
I'm actually not, but there were special circumstances.
I would need a drink wherever you stopped.
I was a little disappointed they weren't serving them, to be honest with you. But I went to a lovely sushi and ramen restaurant in Kirkwood called Koku. It was wonderful. And the thing that stands out to me the most, I'm a crab rangoon fan. I think we've talked about this at length in many different instances. They might have my favorite crab rangoon in town, George. They are not the fold-over wonton. They're the ones that are pinched from the top.
Right.
Overflowing with cream cheese. And a lot of places I see are saying, do you want sweet or do you want savory? This has a little bit of subtle sweetness to it, but it still has the crab in there. So,
well, that's
love.
That's what I always ask. Is there crab in this crab rangoon?
And there is crab in this crab rangoon. So I love this restaurant. I thought their ramen was outstanding. They had really great sushi. Across the board, it was a lovely place, but do not sleep on the crab rangoon. It may be my vote for best in St. Louis.
Oh, can't beat that. Last issue, I talked about a salad. Again, it's holiday season, and I'm talking about salads. I'm going to talk about another one, and it's the Mayfair salad at Madrina. And you might say, well, what's the big deal? These things have been around since they introduced them at the Mayfair Hotel in the 30s, and they've appeared on menus ever since. But this one is memorable for several reasons. One, they add these wafer-thin slices of prosciutto to the top of the salad. It's just simple, but absolutely wonderful compliment. And the croutons are perfect. They are the right size. They're about 1/3 of an inch square. They have the right seasoning. They're not bland and they're not overly seasoned. And they're the right texture. Some of these can break your teeth and hurt your mouth like Captain Crunch cereal, but these are not like that. And it's a very important component that a lot of restaurants overlook.
Now, are these the more deep fried style or are these the more kind of oven baked style? I love them both.
I'm not sure. I just know that the texture was perfect. And
delicious.
The other thing they do is they take a little dab of Mayfair dressing and serve it on the side for those that want a little more. And you will, because Mayfair dressing is just that good.
It's legendary.
It is. And people say, what's the difference? It's very similar to Caesar. Well, it's got a little more garlic. It's got a little mustard. It's got some solids in it, which Caesar doesn't. Caesar's a little more lemony and Parmesan-y and smooth. Anyway, I love Mayfair dressing. And besides Madrina, I know that you can get a Mayfair salad at Citizen Kane's. They also have it at O'Connell's Pub, at Piccadilly in Manhattan, and Sam's Steakhouse. I think more restaurants should serve a Mayfair salad instead of the usual and ubiquitous Caesar. Anybody that likes a Caesar will love a Mayfair salad, and it's got local provenance.
Yeah, it's uniquely St. Louis. It's special.
Oh, and real quick, another thing that we can't stop thinking about is the St. Louis Supper Club. We've done 3 of these so far. For those that aren't aware, you sign up ahead of time, you don't know where you're going, and you don't know where you're eating, and it's just a tremendous success, always at a top restaurant. But the only way you can find out about it is to sign up for the dining newsletter. And this is what we're here to stress. These tickets, each time we do it, they sell out quicker and quicker. You'll see the tickets pop up on the Friday newsletter, and there will be one after the first of the year for the first quarter St. Louis Supper Club. Check it.
And we're talking about selling out in a matter of hours.
And people are upset that they can't get to it. Well, the newsletter comes out between 8 and 9 on a Friday, and you got to be right there. And if the announcement's been made, then jump on it. And that way you can get in. And it's worthwhile. These things have been so much fun. So sign up at stlmag.com/newsletters to be the first to know. And speaking of local provenance, we are here to discuss the launch of what we feel will be excellent additions to the dining landscape. This November-December print edition that we talked about has about 25 of them, plus some notable expansions and additional locations. We're not going to bury the lead today. We're going to start with a top 5, as agreed upon by Cheryl and me, and we're going to count them backwards from number 5, which is Brazos.
What a strong lead out of the gate. Oh my gosh, George, I could talk about this chicken and these potatoes forever.
Brazos has been around in different iterations in pop-up form, and really the claim to fame there is a Peruvian dish, pollo a la brasa. Andrew Cisneros, who's just mastered this. Basically, this is a spit-roasted chicken with an unusual marinade. It's got lime and beer and oyster sauce and Peruvian peppers. That magic combination is what makes this so special. Really simple menu. I mean, it's like the keep it simple, stupid menu. There's not much to it, and it's all excellent. Basically, you can get a half chicken that comes with 2 sides. And one of them is garlic rice and Peruvian beef stew, which they actually count as one side.
Wow.
So that means you can have another side. And if you go that route, get the Maduros, because those are dessert-like, so tasty, fried plantains.
Now, George, I am on Team Potato at Brazos, as I just mentioned. What's so special?
We're disagreeing?
I know.
This never
look at
happens.
this. The thing that is so special is the potatoes are at the bottom of the pan that they're roasting this chicken above. And the chicken drippings that are marinated in this wonderful seasoning roast with the potatoes, and the potatoes just are saturated in this glorious schmaltzy nectar. Oh my gosh, they are some of the best things I can ever eat.
Schmaltzy nectar. I'm going to steal that. Just
But-
be prepared.
So yeah, I'm Team Potato at Brazos,
And
but
it's
you can't go wrong.
such a simple menu. There's a croquette on there. I think there's a beef skewer. There's a few ceviches for
his
starters.
ceviche is so good.
And there's a chicken curry. And one of the better things on the menu, besides the chicken, is a Peruvian combination fried rice that's got beef and chicken and
It's
pork
wonderful.
belly and shrimp. And it is outstanding. A teeny little place. I think they do a lot of pickup and delivery business. I think this food travels fairly well. Brazos in the East Loop.
So that's number 5. Now we're number 4 here. And this is a place that's just recently had a concept change, but still as wonderful as ever. We're going with Little Lucy and Lucy Q, formerly known as Lucy Quinn.
Right.
Ben Welch's restaurant started out as more of a Southern inflected, elevated soul food style restaurant and has now turned into more of a barbecue smokehouse style menu that really nods back to Ben's restaurant Big Baby Q in Maryland Heights, which was one of the most phenomenal smokehouses in St. Louis. He's such a talented chef. People can't get enough of his barbecue.
And
And, the
it's-
people spoke in.
Right. And it's also
listened.
in the Beastcraft, which was an excellent barbecue place
Mhm.
on its own. So it's got the bones. I called it an unexpected but logical pivot. It
Yes.
just makes total sense.
It makes absolute sense. And we're talking about Lucy Q. Little Lucy is such a fun spot. This is the sister concept that's adjacent to it. It's a diner. It used to be lunch and dinner. They have changed to evenings only. That burger there is one of the best burgers in town. It's like a smash burger with all this gooey cheese, just absolutely wonderful. That's one of my favorite things.
And it's 2 restaurants under one roof, which we can talk about a little later because that's kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that are kind of doing a combo just basically to help pay the rent. They're spreading their wings so that they can cover their costs. And this guy, Ben Welch, has done it brilliantly. And like I said, this shift to barbecue, that's probably a no-lose situation.
So, are we ready for number 3?
Yeah, let's go to number 3.
Opry. George. I love Opry so much. This is the sister spot to Good Company in the Grove. What a lovely restaurant. It's small, it's intimate. I love the vibe of it. Think glass storefront windows that face Manchester, candlelight dancing off of them, exposed brick. They have phenomenal cocktails. They lean toward Amaro, so they kind of have that Italian, think spritzes, really unique flavors like that. but they also have a great wine list. They have a fantastic NA selection. They have just a fun little curated wine list. It's such a lovely place. If you're interested in learning about Amaro and Italian cocktails, this is definitely the place. And I haven't even gotten to the food yet. They have fantastic oysters. I think they're some of the best oysters in town. A lot of little small plates, beef tartare, house-made ricotta. They have chickpea hummus that is absolutely fantastic. And then a little bit larger plates. They have some great fish entrees, duck confit with gorgonzola. I mean, can you go wrong with that? Just this very Mediterranean inspired feel to it. I love it so much.
Have you been to one of their plates and pairings dinners?
No, I have not.
20 seats, communal tables, family style service, extremely popular. They did one that was Halloween themed with 6 courses. Each one was inspired by a classic horror film. So much fun. They
Oh,
just
that's
did a
fun.
Thanksgiving style dinner with turkey served 2 ways, turkey Wellington and turkey ballotine, which is a stuffed rolled turkey. So I missed both of those,
Gosh,
but
that sounds great.
these are, I want to say monthly, maybe quarterly things, but the plates and pairings, if you can get a seat to that, that's a great deal. So
Oh, that's
look for
fun.
that for sure. We're going to swing a little east from there to Botanical Heights, home of No Ordinary Rabbit, which is a very reasonably priced, Mediterranean leaning, collaborative effort between a chef and a really, really good bartender.
Mm.
And it takes its name from a famous line in a Monty Python movie, if people are wondering. This is Steve Gontram and David Zitko, and both of them know their stuff. What's your impression of that place?
It's hard for me to hear the word No Ordinary Rabbit without thinking Zatar onion rings. That's my impression of it. What more do you need to say? It is such a fun place. You have these whimsical elements like that. I just love it. Again, we talked about non-alcohol cocktails. They have a fantastic selection there as well. Really creative offerings. I just love it. I think it's whimsical without being too quirky and just the perfect cocktail lounge type feel.
You mentioned those onion rings, and
Mm.
those folks that remember Harvest, they're very similar in style to the ones that Steve Gontram popularized at Harvest. Another thing that they have, again, that I credit Steve Gontram with is the hanger steak, which was
Mhm.
introduced at Harvest. I've
Yep.
never seen it before then. It's also known as the butcher's cut
Mhm.
because that's the cut that the butchers took home to their families. So really, really tasty, flavorful cut. This is just a great restaurant. And you mentioned the cocktails. I get a kick out of the house cocktail, the No Ordinary Rabbit, that's made with, have you had this?
Haven't.
It's made with rye and creme de coco and a liqueur called Kloosterbitter, which is made up of 17 different herbs.
Wow.
And there's some marshmallow cream put on top. I guess reminiscent of a rabbit. It's no ordinary cocktail. Let me tell you that right now. And just an example of all the cool things going
So
on there.
creative.
It's just a great restaurant. Not very big, very cozy. I just love every part of it. And I love the 2 guys that own it.
Totally agree. Well, George, we've arrived at our number 1 spot. I feel like you
Yeah,
need to do the honors and I'll do the
There's the
drum
drum
roll.
roll. Yes, we named Robin the best in show for 2025. And if you remember, before we went to press, the New York Times named Robin one of America's best restaurants in 2025. I'm talking the New York Times.
Yes.
This is a big deal. Not very big, 30 seats. It's in the old Benevolent King space in Maplewood. It's an excellent restaurant. Everything is prefix. It's a 4-course prefix with 3 choices per course for $75. That's the deal. No a la carte. This is what Chef Alex Shingle likes to eat. He likes to eat in courses he doesn't like to share. So it's that kind of restaurant. And boy, the New York Times and everybody else in town seems to agree.
What I think's so fun about Ramen is, first of all, he's reinventing the tasting menu for a modern diner. We don't necessarily want all the pomp and circumstance, but we do still want this multi-course affair. So it has the feeling of a chef's menu without feeling overly stuffy and overly formal. I really like that. I think the price reflects that as well.
It's a great price.
Yes,
Four courses from a chef like that with accolades like he's getting, this is a deal.
it's a total deal considering that a lot of tasting menus run in that 150 to 250 range. I mean, it's getting pretty pricey. So this is a way to do that style of dining that's a lot more approachable. I think the other thing that he's done, which I find so fun, is it was very important to him to showcase Midwestern flavors in a sophisticated way. He does things like a elevated take on maybe a pork steak or a green bean casserole. He calls them hot dishes as a nod to our neighbors to the north in Minnesota. He's really taking a different look at things that oftentimes are discounted, and he's shining a beautiful light on them. I think it's so creative and so fun.
The bad news is, since that New York Times article, the place is really hard to
Oh,
get
it's
into.
impossible.
So I say use what you suggested last week and hit up the Notify tab on Resy. And that's where you put in the number of people, put in the times you want to go. And if there's a reservation that's canceled that opens up, you get pinged. And that's about the only way you're going to get in to Robin on short notice.
And I promise you, it truly works. This weekend, within an hour of putting on a Notify for a very popular brunch spot, got a table. So what a wonderful resource. Use Resy. It's your friend. It's especially your friend for Robin, which restaurant of the year.
It definitely deserves it. We talked about a bunch of different restaurants in this article. We talked about Expat Barbecue, which is barbecue unlike this city or any city has ever seen. We talked about Cottle Village Farmstead and Distillery, which is, again, one of these places that's got a lot going on in one spot. It's a full-service restaurant and bar. There's a whiskey distillery, and there's an outdoor space with a covered stage. A lot going on out in Cottleville. We both love Saucy Pasta,
Oh,
which
it's
is
so
a
great.
fresh take on fast casual pasta in the St. Charles area. One of my favorites is Great Heart Brewing,
Mm-hmm.
a microbrewery with predominantly lager beer from a husband and wife team who have lager beer in their blood, basically. And it's a menu created there by the Crossings Jimmy Fiala. Great, great restaurant. I love Mestiza tacos and
Oh my gosh,
concheritos.
that place is great.
All meals start out with a little complimentary sweet potato taco. They serve it with 4 of their salsas. So it's a great way to say welcome, or I guess bienvenidos is a little more appropriate.
This is from the Malinche folks. So if you're a fan of Malinche out in Ellisville, this is their taqueria. It's so great.
It's so good, and excellent, excellent reviews all the way around. One of your favorites, which I'm not sure where this enters, but there's Pavilion. It's a worth the splurge omakase
Oh,
restaurant.
absolutely. There's a little bit of a gray area here. Is it a new restaurant? Is it a special venue inside an existing restaurant? Whatever you call it, it's an excellent spot and it is worthy of acknowledgement.
We should also mention Mainlander, which kind of the same thing. While not technically new, it did move up the street to a slightly larger location, and in doing so, caught the attention of Esquire magazine, which named it one of the 33 best new restaurants in the country. Again, love getting accolades in the New York Times and Esquire. It gives St. Louis deserved kudos.
And no restaurant is more deserving of that than the absolutely spectacular Mainlander.
So there's a half a dozen restaurants that have come on the scene after our publication date that, had we published a little later in the year, would have made our list, and we didn't want to ignore those today.
Yeah, I think people might look at our list and say, where's Scouts? Where's Extra Wavy? Where's Nettie's Pizza Den? Being in a world that operates on a print production schedule, we go to press quite early. So we have to make our calls a little bit earlier than maybe we would if we were just putting this up on the web. So there are a lot of places that have opened that we just didn't get a look at until now. And one of those is Nikki Slices, which I think is one of the most fun additions to the St. Louis dining scene. As people might recall, Nikki Slices started out as an Instagram order online business during the pandemic. And it now has a brick and mortar on the hill, these fabulous, thick, creative pizzas that are just so wonderful. They have this fun atmosphere, really a great spot. I think it deserves to be in the conversation as one of the most exciting places to open this year.
And another one that is on the opposite end of the spectrum because it's this massive place in Crestwood, seats 370 people. This is the Mexican STL. It's an upscale Mexican restaurant with different rooms having different vibes, and it's got 4 giant doors that open to the outside from the bar. It's just beautiful when they crank these things open. I'll be honest, mixed reviews. Dave Lowry, our lead critic, who's very picky and persnickety, loved it, as did a very discerning dining group that you and I know. But others did not. And I think the reason is, one, it's expensive, it's unconventional, and it's not in any way Tex-Mex. And I think the people that are expecting that type of fare at Tex-Mex prices are the ones going to be taking issue with it.
And it doesn't bill itself as such. I think that's just a misconception people have when it comes to Mexican fare in St. Louis. I hear nothing but raves about the tuna. Apparently, that is one of the don't miss dishes there.
They make their own tortillas. A lot of intent and thoughtfulness went into this restaurant. And my guess is you won't have a hard time getting in there because there's 370 seats. It's massive.
Right.
But it's a great addition to Crestwood and to St. Louis. That's the Mexican STL. Where else do we want to go?
Nettie's Pizza Den.
Oh my gosh.
Which just
Speaking
opened.
of pizza.
This is Mike Randolph's highly anticipated restaurant that finally opened in the heart of downtown Clayton. It's not the Good Pie Part 2. It's not Randolphi's Part 2. It is a wonderful pizzeria in its own right. Think wood-fired. Think maybe the look of Neapolitan pizza, but it is not Neapolitan pizza. It does have the char speckle, but the center of the pizza actually has some heft to it, which was intentional. He wanted this to be a carryout place, so it holds well.
And he did something that I've never seen any pizza guy do in the country. He uses 2 ovens. I've never seen a pizzeria use 2 ovens. He starts in an oven that basically does a Neapolitan job. It cooks it quickly. It gives a lot of blistering. And then he finishes it in a deck oven, which is your traditional pizza oven, which is what adds the texture and structure and enables these pizzas to travel. Like he said, this will travel 40 minutes and still be in good shape when it gets there. Think about that. Mike Randolph, it's not unexpected. He did a lot of research and spent a lot of time thinking about this. And people thought he was great. Wait, you're going to do 2 ovens? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, they've been blowing the doors off Nettie's Pizza Den, and deservedly so.
What about Extra Wavy, George? What a fun spot from the folks behind Yellow Belly and Lazy Tiger. This is such a hot spot, and deservedly so.
And deservedly so. They are in the Centennial Malt House building, which is more commonly known as the Vindiset building, which is the one that suffered that horrible fire. And this is Travis Howard and Tim Wiggins. They've mixed old and new in this building, and they said this is going to be a really different restaurant, and it is, with a menu to match. They've got just some great, unusual items. Cacio e pepe cauliflower, a lobster salad that's tucked inside a fried donut bun. And it's just awesome.
Awesome.
It's as good as it sounds. And that's just a sampling of the food. If Tim Wiggins has anything to do with it, you know the cocktails are dynamite. If you like Yellow Belly, their other restaurant, you'll love Extra Wavy. There's another restaurant that you're going to hear a lot about. And it's in the Midtown area. It's called Scouts. And this is the highly anticipated restaurant from 2 chefs and a great general manager, Elliot Brown and Brandon Panache. These 2 guys are just really good together. And Will Rogers is a well-known manager around town. These guys are in the former Nexus space on Locust Street. And the cuisine focus, they call it New American with Italian Mediterranean influences. This is a restaurant that has its roots in Dinner at the Loft, which is the chef's pop-up project that they did for years that provided basically proof of concept. And this is where a lot of those menu items came from. Scouts is named after Brown's daughter, and it's just a charming place. 3 rooms, not a lot of menu items. There's a dozen to start, snacks and small plates and pastas and mains, but it's just enough and it's just right. And the prices, most importantly, are intentionally modest, which I think is so important these days. One of their standout dishes, charred cabbage dressed with andouille cream, sunflower seeds, ramps. There's a grilled carrot dish with harissa vinaigrette, feta, herbs, and a pickled pepper pine nut salsa that's almost as fun to say as it is to
Oh,
eat.
that's so fun. These chefs came up through Vicia, so you're going to see a lot of dishes like that. Vegetable forward, not vegetarian. You
Good
talked
point.
about the
That's a good
andouille,
point.
but vegetable forward. So they have that technique down, but they're just having so much fun with it. What a great group of guys. What a great restaurant.
This will be one you'll hear about. They're open only Thursday through Monday night. Keep that in mind. Closed Tuesday, Wednesday. A great restaurant in Midtown.
Well, I think it's no surprise that I have to find a way to talk about Parker's Table in this episode.
Hey, what happens in every episode? Might as well be this
I
one too.
swear they're not paying me off. I genuinely just love this place. So, the Yale Bar, which you're thinking, why are we talking about a new bar? They have recently expanded their food program. So, I'm counting this as a best new restaurant.
This
There's
is next door to Parker's Table.
Exactly. So, speaking of the gentleman from Scouts, one of their partners in the biscuit joint, John O'Lorenzen, is now the chef overseeing the Yale Bar's food menu. For about a month now, they've been slow rolling out some expanded offerings. Think different flatbreads, think different snacks. It's really turning into a must visit dining destination. I wouldn't say you're going there for a full meal, but you're grazing on some excellent food. The atmosphere couldn't be any better. The wine couldn't be any better. And the company couldn't be any better. It's such a standout spot.
It really is. It's so typical Parker's Table. Everything about it just feels good. They didn't start off with much food, but boy, they really came on strong here in the last month or so.
It was a place you didn't want to leave already. Now you definitely have an extra excuse to stay.
Now they got to throw you out.
Yeah.
Hey, down in Southampton is a place called Mortar and Pestle. It's in the old Copper Pig space, and it's owned by the guy that owned Copper Pig, a guy named Nat Wynn, and his partner, Remy Javed. And these two had a catering venture called Kana, and they tested Vietnamese and Pakistani dishes. He's Vietnamese, she's Pakistani, at different restaurants and pop-ups across town. And they got proof of concept there, and they thought, we could make a restaurant out of this. And Mortar and Pestle, the name reflects the different culinary influences, and both of those cuisines rely a lot on spices, hence the name Mortar and Pestle. And it's just this cozy place down in Southampton, and there's a lounge component, and there's a bar component, and there's a dining room component. It's all there, and there's only 45 seats. It's just a wonderful place. Some of these dishes that they've proven, they've got a crying tiger beef that's served over garlic noodles. Puff pastry cases with chicken korma in one and spinach paneer curry in the other. That's kind of an idea of what you get there. There's a shrimp toast that's just this delicious shrimp mousse that's between a Pepperidge Farm, that super thin
Oh, I
bread.
love it.
And they give it a nice hard grilling. Oh,
Mhm.
it's just so good.
It's like it melds into the bread just
And
perfectly.
they finish it on all sides with sesame seeds.
Oof.
There's some really cool things, just like at the Copper Pig. You remember they had the beet fries. They were the first place that had beet fries. It's that
Yes.
same kind of really creative stuff going on there. And again, very important, entrees are in the low to mid 20s, which is vital. It's this cozy, reasonably priced restaurant that we all wish we had in our neighborhood. So that brings us to our micro rant. I guess it's good to end with it, but it's like we're on this high, and then all of a sudden we go, it's time for the micro rant. And this is something that you didn't see at Mortar and Pestle, but you do see at other places. It's when an owner opens a restaurant and doesn't post the menu.
Oh, it's so frustrating, George. People love to see menus now. They like to look in advance to know what to expect, especially the new
it's the
places.
barometer. One, it tells you the pricing. Two, it tells you what can I expect. And sometimes you go, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever. And sometimes you go, gosh, I'm not sure I can find a lot of stuff on this menu. And all that is vital because that menu is the main driver that prompts a guest visit. And yet some places refrain from doing that, which is something I just don't understand. You'll hear owners will say, hey, this is the reason why we do this because the menu isn't complete and it might give a bad impression. And I say, the heck with that. Post a menu, even if it's temporary.
Yeah, you can say that it's temporary. I mean, it's pretty simple to make these changes online. Just say it's temporary, put it in the boldest type ever, and then update it when you need to update it. It's the way to do it.
It's fine. We get it. We understand. We appreciate it, but we need to know. And with that little caveat, we're going to end today's Arch Eats. Happy holidays, best dishes. Thank you for listening to Arch Eats. Be sure to follow us and share with your friends. We put out new episodes every other week where you'll always see links in the show notes for everything you heard about today. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow along on Instagram at St. Louis Mag and at George Mahey and Cheryl A. Bear.
If you loved what you heard, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And for more of the freshest coverage on the local restaurant and culinary scene, subscribe to our dining newsletters.
Best dishes, and see you next time.
Arch Eats is a production of St. Louis Magazine. Audio editing by Brendan Shanahan and produced by Kylie Green Lemoyne.